Time, episode 163. Ooh, something's happening with my video. Sorry about that, guys. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Your host, Mark Segovia, alongside my co-host OSG and our special co-host for the night, Cesar Vasquez. I'm guessing you want everybody to know your real
Oh
name, so it's
snap!
all good
No,
because
hold
I
on,
see it there
change
on the
it,
headline.
change it. Should have warned me.
Nah, it's all good. The kids
Just
love him.
if you
The
can't change it,
adults fear
yeah.
him. Cesspool, what's going on, my guy?
Chilling, bro, chilling. Over here, I don't know, trying to decipher what we're gonna do with the team. Uh, we'll see what's coming up ahead. I mean, we got lot to talk about, and excited to be here tonight. And thanks for the invitation. How are ya?
Nah, for sure, man. It's always a open forum for you, my guy. You're one of the marquee supporters and fans out there, with the most visibility out there in social media and obviously at the games and stuff like that. The kids love you, all that good stuff. So I mean, and the masks get better and better and better
Mhm.
every time I see you. OSG, what's going on, my guy?
What's up, partner? What's up, partner? I hope you enjoyed your trip to Europe, and I hope we get to hear about it, man. It looked like you had a good time, but welcome back, bro. You missed a lot. You especially missed the end of the season here, even though I mean missed a lot, but nothing that was worth missing, I guess.
Yeah, man. It's I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I had to take some time off and go across the pond and enjoy myself out there. I'll talk about it a little bit later on, but yeah, but obviously like you mentioned. I mean, I did miss the last two games of the season, the end of the season. Then obviously we've had players let go or not extended, contracts ended. Today we had our owner Ted and co-owners Tim Howard out there showing off the new stuff in the facilities, the new infrastructures, the new fan experience, and things of that nature. Talking to the press about what they're expecting for the offseason for the front office with Pat and Asher looking to have a lot of healthy pressure on them, obviously, because like I said, this past season was not the season we expected to have. And obviously with everything going on as far as the changes and a lot of the players that I've seen let go, it looks like they're really, really, really prepped up to have a really busy offseason, which I'm looking forward to. I can't wait till those names start to pop up in the rumor mill and then those rumors become actual transfers and actual signees. But with that being said, we're gonna get into it. And I know obviously you guys have touched on the offseason and what's going on in the last couple of games. So, I want to give my 2 cents on it before we move on with everything that happened today and all the players that have officially, I guess, moved on from the club. But yeah, man, obviously, like I mentioned in the opener, I mean, coming into this season, with it being the 20th anniversary of the club, and obviously the big things that we've done the last two seasons previous, with the with our second U.S. Open Cup, and then a Western Conference run, and back to back playoff appearances. After a decade long drought of just mediocrity and misery for the club, we were finally on our way up to go back to the top echelon of the league, which I feel the Dynamo have a proper place in, as one of the
Yeah.
I feel pillars for this league. It should be one of the pillars for this league, for the size of the market that we have, and obviously the influence as far as what kind of town we are, as far as soccer influence from all around the world, not only just locally, but obviously internationally with European living in the city, and then obviously Latin America with the following they have in Liga MX and like the Argentine league or the Brazilian league and other leagues around the world. So I feel that Houston should be one of the pillars for MLS to be standing strong on, and until. And I feel that that we need to get up there with the LAFCs and the Seattles and then obviously the Inter Miamis and things of that nature. But obviously touching on what happened this season, I mean, there's no other way to put it, but I mean the grade has to be an F. I mean, realistically speaking, it was a failure overall. I mean, the worst home record in team history is the big headline, right? Because we were a fairly good road team for for whatever reason. I don't know what it is about being home. I guess they just enjoyed lounging and relaxing at home, or maybe the coaching staff gave them too much of a long leash when they get home to relax and be with the family. I'm not sure what the problem was, but something
Mark
that
and
we
other in the previous shows while you were gone, we focused on 3 points that we kind of all agreed upon, and that
okay
was the selling McHale at the last moment and not being able to have a replacement in hand,
for sure.
and then bringing in the partial type players that the fan base was kind of like, "Who we gotta learn about this guy, figure out who this guy is," and then
Yeah,
Ben not utilizing those players, and then there was a third thing, but getting to those points, but just
The
Ben's
injuries too.
tactics, refusing to change his tactics at certain points when it definitely required it because we had so many injuries. So
for sure.
injuries, Ben refusing to use tactics, Mikel being left at the last second, just everything resulted in nothing could be picked up and the wins couldn't come. So we were all disappointed, but that's
Yeah,
what we kind of focused on. I don't know
and
where you stand.
yeah, so I mean, and overall speaking, I mean, with all that you mentioned, which are great, are excellent points, which are a couple of points that I will touch on here in a bit, but just the home record in itself, you know,
Hmm.
to experience something at home that we never experienced, even doing during our pitiful time under the tab era, the Namagora era, all that stuff. To experience it with this coaching staff and these players during this time period, and you got to look at it. We weren't that far off from a playing spot, right? And one or two home wins, which should have been something that we should have been able to accomplish, would have had us in a different
No, man.
situation. But obviously
We
that's
had
neither here nor there.
to, honestly,
But
we were supposed to build on top of an already great season
no,
where
no,
we
yeah, for sure,
could
for
have
sure. But I mean,
came being finalists, you
yeah,
know?
but I mean, but obviously, like we spoke, like OSG spoke earlier, you lost your top defender, you lost the captain of your team, you lost. I mean, you're supposedly
Underwhelming
captain. You're supposedly
performances.
captain of the defense has been gone for most of the for 85-90% of the season with lingering injuries. You never found the clear playmaker to help Ponce up front, to help score goals and stuff like that. So and you never brought in anybody of true talent to come help and build upon that team. So obviously that the acquisitions were a huge failure from the front office and stuff like and stuff like that as well. Excuse me. But the home record, to be honest, to me personally, that's the big bulletin. That's the big headline here. The worst home record in Dynamo history. And that's basically the reason why we missed out on the playoffs, or at least the play-in game. Now to go on to mention about the timing of things, right? Because I was on the show when I first got on with Noodle Time and Andres and OSG's talking about, like, wow, they made a quick decision on letting go of Hector Herrera, right? So in my opinion, well, if they made a quick decision on that, then they had something in mind,
For
to
sure.
go to replace him. That's just my logical thinking, my logical mindset, right? Because it was really, really, really fast, for somebody who helped dig this club out of the shithole that it was in prior. So I was like, okay, look, I didn't like the move. I thought Hector could have stayed with us for another year. Obviously his last year was a little injury ridden, but I mean, but obviously who doesn't have injuries, right? So if he seemed motivated to come back, but they decided to move along. Okay, fine, great. But then the whole offseason went passed along, and nothing. There was absolutely nothing. No names linked, nothing going on. We all had hope. We all, like, hey, something's gonna come up. Something's gonna come. Something has to happen. And
I felt like
then
we were poking a dead fucking animal with a stick.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
like, wait,
yeah. Wake up, wake up. And then a couple of days before the season opener, Palmeiras comes in with an offer that you really can't refuse for Mikael, which I understand completely. And you go ahead and do that. Okay, fine. Now you have this extra income. Something has to happen. Like maybe now they have in my mindset. Okay, they made this move probably because now this Mikael money gives them the money needed to bring in that said player that they wanted to replace Hector with, right, for that DP spot. Crickets, crickets, and crickets. Didn't hear anything.
They had the Hector money at before Mikel left and got
But
we gave us 5 more million, right?
for
We're
sure,
saving
for sure.
5 million by letting Hector go. So we technically had 10 million, and then as you said, there was more crickets.
But then I'm thinking like, okay, maybe they're gathering a little bit more money because the next player they're gonna bring in is of higher
Yeah.
talent, higher
Yeah.
quality, so it's gonna cost more, right? So I'm thinking, okay, cool, crickets. So then obviously the winter closes. We have the horrible start to the season, obviously because we don't have a full
That's
team. We don't have a full team. Shervashenko's out. Obviously we lost Mikael. We're asking Obafemi, a true rookie, to come in and help guide the defense. Hector Herrera's
Anali
out.
wasn't ready
Uh,
yet.
Coco was transferred over to Pumas.
Escobar was
Um,
intermittent too.
you
Escobar
know,
wasn't playing his best.
and Ali wasn't ready yet. Quiones was
Obviously not
never
ready
ready.
yet.
And all that good stuff. So I mean, so the first month of the season was a brutal one. I mean, it was brutal. And we were letting points go. The goal differential was starting to inflate, and obviously everybody goes, "Hey, it's the first month. Calm down. Blah blah blah. We got to recruit. All that good stuff." But it just goes to show how quickly a season can go by. You know, us as supporters, us as fans, us as people who follow this team week in, week out, 1 week turns into 3 weeks. 3 weeks turns into week match day to match day 12.
Mhm.
Then match day 12 turns into match day 20. Match day 20 turns into match day 30. And then it's like, boom, there goes your season. Nothing happened. You're bottom of the table. You're one of the worst teams in the league, one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Um, and worst home record and club history, etc., etc., etc. So I mean, you can't give any other grade but an F here. You know, individually, as far as players goes, yeah, there's been some sparks here and there. I was happy to see Anali come back. Did we get the true? Did we get the true effect from Anali that I felt that we could have gotten? No, because you got to give that type of injury a little more than a year, right? He came back, he's playing now. Hopefully next year he comes in with full confidence. He's a year removed from the surgery and all that good stuff. Hopefully we get the most of him. Ponce, double digits. He scored 10 goals, regardless of whatever anybody says. 10 goals in 33 games. Hey, it's one goal every third game. I still have the feeling that he can be a 15, 20 goal scorer if he gets somebody to give him the ball and create for him. But that's neither here nor there. Jack McGlynn ascended, great start. Hey, young player comes in. That's going to be one of the questions mark this offseason. Will he stay with us, or will he demand a transfer because his values is going up and there's a lot of teams in Euro knocking on the door? We don't know, right? Um,
He ain't going nowhere until after the World Cup at the start of the European seasons.
well, we'll see what happens. And then, we have Brooklyn Reigns and another one of our youngsters who's representing the U20s, who's doing a really great job. And at that level, and he's garnering a lot of attention abroad as well. So will we have him
Mm-hmm.
available for next season as well? So I mean, it's a lot of questions going into the offseason. And
How long will we keep Anali?
Exactly, and things like that, and a lot of questions, and obviously the offseason is still not here because MLS playoffs are still going and things of that nature, and we're gonna have a full, I don't know, maybe month and a half before we get any true answers, any reliable sources of as far as answers going, as far as what type of players we're gonna be looking at, what type of reinforcements we're gonna be looking to bring in, and then what do we do with the DP spots? What kind of face of the franchise player are we out there looking at? Like what exactly is it that we're gonna do? What is the focus? What's the direction we're going in it? What type of team are we trying to build here now?
Is that a
So
segue?
yeah, so I mean,
We got hints today.
it's a lot. It's a lot. But let's talk about some players that have officially left us today, and I want to hear your thoughts on that. Amir Bassi according to his Instagram and social medias and all that stuff, appears to be leaving the club. I guess they weren't able to reach an agreement as far as renegotiations or extending the
Hey, man.
contract and stuff like that. So Bossy will be out. Will no longer be a Dynamo player. Obviously, he had a great first season with us. Our PK master, and then kind of fell off from there. Cesspool, I'll come to you first, my guy. Your thoughts just overall on Bossy and Orange? I mean, he was every time you saw the guy was with a smile.
Oh no, I mean 100%. The attitude was there. He really believed in himself, and that's commendable. And that's why he made it what he made it the first season here, right? But let's not make mistakes about it too. If we're critical of him, in the pure aspect of who he was in the Dynamo, he was a player that never really got off to the start or to the career he was expected of. He definitely owed the team. He left owing the team some. But the first season was a good season, I would say, because let's remember most of those shots were penalty shots, and even a lot of them weren't, his own doing. But overall, he's a great player, and I think that the team just needs to move in a better direction, and we're past those tier players. I think we're moving in a direction where we're having higher tier players where Basi, it's not going to be able to fit into the new team.
Yeah, he
Bossy
leaves
was
with 21 goal score for the club, which helps him. Yeah, which leaves him in the top 10 all time goal scorers in our club's history. So give him that. OSG, your thoughts on the Bassi departure?
Yeah, I was going to mention that same stat you just threw out too. That half his goals were penalty kicks too, but he did it. He did score enough to put himself into that rankings. He did come in and did the job that he was required to, and now his time is up. As he saw towards the end of the season, he was not being utilized much. He was still being utilized, but off the bench. I don't think he wanted to take the pay cut that we were offering him, and he doesn't have a place here. And there is gonna be an overhaul in the offseason as compared to the 22 season where you had 17 players come in to overhaul that roster, and then what came of it. A cup and an open cup run and a going into the playoffs pretty deep, but we're gonna have to go through that again. And as you said, we know what our defense looks like. Actually, we know what our starting 11 looks like technically to start the season right now.
For
It's
for
the
sure.
starting
Even
11.
backups.
Ben's besties were
Yeah.
the ones that are still on the roster. So technically, anybody coming in better be a starter, and those players have got to go to the bench and hurry up. But
Well,
Bossy
that's
gone,
what we
I'm
hope.
good with it, and he did his job. So thank you, Bossy. We'll follow you from afar.
Or
Oh
merci,
yeah.
Bassi.
I know, and it's great, man. Great memories with him, especially going up to El Batallón, playing drums.
Yeah.
He was a guy of the people. Every time we ran into him, a lot of the Surge members took pictures with him. Like as a person, great guy. Statistically speaking, we expected a lot more of him. But for what he did fine. Him
Friendly
and
at the
Seba.
Dose games that he went to a lot,
Yeah, yeah,
and
exactly, and that's why the people love him, and I love him for that.
Yeah.
But
You-
I would not put it past Webb.
yeah.
Webb probably picked him up from the airport when he returned back home.
yeah, but you have to appreciate players that come in and allow themselves to be integrated into the fan base like that.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate that type of love because the fact is that they don't have no benefit to do any things like that, and stuff like that. And for him to
Yeah.
actually be out there doing those type of things, that just shows what kind of person he is, and he is appreciated. And obviously, he was a part of the Cup run and the U.S. Open Cup
It's part of
triumph. So
history in Houston for sure,
no, for
individually
sure, for
and
sure.
team wise, you know. But looking at his career objectively at the Dynamo, we all expected more out of him,
Yeah,
and
for
we just
sure.
didn't get it. And
It's
and
just
that's where it all ends.
and I think right now, as far as like analytically speaking, you have to maximize the dollar amount that you pay these players, right?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
and obviously, Bassi being one of our high TAM players that are being paid at that level, we weren't getting the maximum
Mm.
amount of
Yeah.
goals and assists that we required for the money that he was being made. So that's why I'm sure that they offered him a contract, but I mean, obviously at lower money, and that wasn't going to work for him. He probably had an interest at back maybe in France or anything like that, or some other country or whatever. But I mean, obviously he felt the opportunity was better abroad, which we will wish him luck. And like
We,
I said, merci Basi for everything he's done here with the Dynamo and all that good stuff, and we appreciate him. But the second guy that we heard that might be that is going officially gone, which he was a free agent to start off with. So I guess he was gone as soon as the final whistle blew of the final game of the season. Is one Franco Escobar, who I've had a high praises for, who I think is one of the reasons why the back line and the defense has been such a great asset for us the last 2 years. He is announced to be going to Penarao, which is one of the heavyweights in Uruguayan football. Your thoughts, OSG, on Franco Escobar as far as him as a player in his time in the Dynamo, and are you gonna miss him?
Yeah, I'm gonna miss him, man. But the writing was on the wall. We kind of knew he was gonna leave. Everybody expected him to go to Miami. We knew that wasn't gonna work out anyways. He's
yeah,
not going to Miami. You just said where he was going. I would have loved for him to stay. Andrade and Dorsey and Escobar, a three-part piece, substitution, rotation, playing left back and right back. You put two of them in, and the other one comes off the bench. Every single game would have been short to the back line. Guaranteed you can trust your players. Maybe Dorsey has a bad game because he's exerting his energy, but would have loved to keep Escobar. So, and his leadership that is exerted in different manners was great on the field. So, man, I wish him luck too as well. But wish there was a way that he could have stayed and been with us. But it was obvious he was going to leave, and the dude still came to the stadium. To the last game too, even though
Yeah,
he was not playing and missing a lot of time. He was still going to the stadium. So he didn't burn no bridges or anything. I think this was just mutual. Hey,
yeah,
I want to go home or close to home or whichever it may be.
yeah. I mean, and what a great MLS career. If in case he doesn't
Yeah.
come back, I mean, two MLS Cups, two U.S. Open Cups, a Supporter Shield,
And
and
where was that cup at?
yeah, yeah. So, um,
In
oh,
Miami.
Cesspool, your thoughts on Escobar, and whether you like him leaving, or would you like to bring him back?
the way OSG is putting it, it would have been great to keep him, but I
For sure.
always had a love-hate relationship with him because he was just so hot-headed, man, and at the worst time sometimes. But no question about it. He brought that garra. That's every time he was
The
there. You
passion.
knew,
He
yeah,
was he
bro.
played
You
he played
knew
like an
he would.
Argentine.
Exactly, bro. And that brought an extra level of play in the team. But to be quite fair, we needed that this year. And
Yeah,
it will be interesting to see who steps up. It'll hurt, and that's why he's going to a great one in
yeah,
Uruguay. Peñarol, bro. Come on. So, man, it's sad to see him go, but he did have a great career here. I would
yeah,
say
for
that
sure.
this year was his last. Whatever year, the other years he played great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, it would have been great to have a three-headed monster as far as fullbacks, with
Hmm.
Escobar, Dorsey, and Andrade. But obviously, the emergence of Andrade kind of made him a little bit more expandable, and maybe, like I said, they're trying to shift that money somewhere else, and maybe not focus so much on the defense. Where I mean, still, you're gonna have to find some defensive players to cover and some depth and have quality depth back there, because obviously we know that injuries can hamper a defense real quickly and real fast and mess up your season. But in my opinion, like I've mentioned here, I've been on record saying it. I think, aside from Wade Barrett, I think he was the best left back in Dynamo history. I know other people will say DeMarcus Beasley and this and that, which, hey, respect to Run DMC and things like that. But I mean, in my humble opinion, I believe that Escobar was our second best left back in Dynamo history and things of that nature. So with that being said, gracias Escobar. Ojalá que te vaya bien, y buena suerte. So with that being said, obviously, um, transitioning off of the players, I know there's a long list of other players that were are
Some of them didn't even play at all.
yeah, some of them out of contract or whatever, this and that. I'm not gonna go back through that. I'm pretty sure you guys spoke about that in previous episodes. So, so I'm not gonna go back to those players. But let me ask you this question real quick: of the players, I guess that have are I mean, I guess free agents or are not currently on the club on contract. Is there anybody that you would like to bring back of the players available from last year's squad? SS I'll go with you first.
No,
No, nobody.
no, no.
Well, and technically, there's only one that we're in negotiations with now that Bossy's not, and everybody else is
Yeah,
gone and done with, and there's
but no,
no
no.
inklings of it. So, do you want to keep Ortiz
Who?
Uh,
Oh,
no.
Pablo Ortiz.
or Pablo?
I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I wouldn't because we don't need that type of player for the amount of defenders we have. We don't need another experiment. Now we're taking a gamble in a sense with Felipe Andrade. We're taking a
So
gamble with Jose Carlos already. You know,
yeah, yeah.
we need a established solid defender.
So you wouldn't want to bring back Bartlow or Femi or Pablo Ortiz.
I would have loved to keep Femi. I would have never liked for him to have left. But now that he's gone, and the amount of leverage we have now, I believe we can do better. You
Okay.
know,
OSG, is there anybody that you would have liked to have kept?
Not technically nobody. I mean, we talked about between Bossy and Seba, we would have preferred to keep Seba out of the two, and they
Mhm.
dropped Seba instantly and talked to Bossy. But I thought Seba could have been somebody who came off the bench in the last 15 minutes of a game because he does like to go forward and he does try to create and he does bring a lot of energy. But obviously, that's not a role that they want him to be in. So we move on from him. But that would have been one player. Femi, no, bro. He's a USL player. Maybe if we could have kept him and put him back on dose because we have enough room, then yeah, so he can continue to build as we make that team grow older. He would have fit over there, but I don't
only
think
if we
there's
had a
anybody.
feeder team in the valley, we could have sent them to.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah,
to
something.
play Monday morning quarterback on this, it's crazy. We speak of Basti and Kwalovic. Um, a player that we let go last year, Latif Blessing, who could have made a difference, last year. It's one of those things where like you had too many of the same type of player. And I think unfortunately, obviously Monday morning quarterback, and now I think maybe we let go of the wrong player last year instead of, letting go of Basti or Sebas a year earlier instead of letting go of a Blessing. But obviously that's looking back at hindsight 2020. Now it's obviously nothing we can do about it.
I
But
mean, he came back to Houston after
no, he wanted to
the
come back.
season
He wanted to
ended,
come back, but he
and,
just wanted to
and
be.
he wanted a starting, not
Yeah,
even role, bro. He just wanted a starting opportunity, and it was just
yeah.
something that the coach flat out
No,
told him, "No, you're a sub, and you're gonna stay a
but
sub," and
see
that
that see
comes
see see,
from
see
him.
see that's
That's bad.
as a player, when you're not even
You
given
can't
the
blame him.
opportunity, when you're not even given the opportunity to compete, that I understand why he made the
Yeah.
move that he made.
What? Yeah.
I completely
And
understand.
no
Like
hard feelings to
and
Bossy, bro. I wish he could come back. Or
you
I
know
mean, I'm talking about
blessing, blessing.
Blessing. I wish he could come back. To be honest, because of the. I'm pretty sure he could still consistently perform at that
Yeah,
level right
he
now.
made an impact last year when he came to the club.
Any
So
every time he came in, you
yeah,
know.
so but with that being said, we'll move on. Obviously this today at the stadium they hosted an event today. I would have loved to have made it out there, but obviously I've seen clips here and there. I'm not really formally fully informed about everything that was spoken about. But I mean Ted and Tim Howard were out there showing some of the media members and some of the supporters their plans for the infrastructure of the stadium for next season, the upgrades and things of that nature. And it has a lot of people chattering as far as like, wait a second, um, like the fan experience and upgrading the stadium. Okay, that's one thing, but is that gonna affect the money that you put into the club as far as players and personnel go? Because I mean, we rather you a lot of fans that voice on social media, we rather have that money that you're using for whatever that you're gonna upgrade and put it into the team. Ted wholeheartedly mentioned on one of the clips that it will have no effect as far as resources available to Pat and Asher for upgrading the team for the next season. These upgrades to the stadium were already in due process, and once the season was over, was something that they were going to go ahead with. OSG, you got something you want to
direct
say?
quote from direct quote from Ted, smiling. I have enough capital to fund both teams.
Oh, we're speaking about the dash as well. Yeah, obviously the dash came up at that point as well because the dash
Oh
were
yeah,
were,
it
were
showed.
rumored to be to have to be sold to a Chinese investor. I'm obviously, like I said, I've been gone. I don't know what happened to that. Some people are questioning whether or not that was a legit offer or if NWSL nixed the deal because of the background of the person trying to purchase the dash and things of that nature. I'm not sure what happened in that situation, but if anybody would know, OSG with Dash Dispatch would know, and obviously, if you can give us a little insight on that, that would be
Yeah,
great.
so real quick with the dash is he didn't dispel it or anything. He just said that he's currently not talking to anybody about selling the team. So he didn't say no. He did not talk to them. He didn't say, "Hey, I talked to him and it didn't work out." It didn't say anything about the Chinese at all, and no rumors from technically from Houston ever came out about it as well. Everybody just kind of jumped on board of the article that got put out there, and then just kind of great go gain their own aspects off of it. But I mean, it's
Yeah,
so did say he's still looking for minority ownership, so it's still out there. But he has enough money to put into both teams, and he was talking about both teams today, and he was vibrant too about what's to come and what
yeah.
he's willing to do.
I mean, bringing in minority owners is not a big issue as far as like questioning whether or not resources are available from the majority. In this case, obviously being Ted, because clubs like LAFC have over 50 have over 50 minority owners. Clubs like Seattle Sounders have over 20 minority owners and things of that nature. Obviously, the ones who come forefront are the celebrity owners that own them and people that are known as far as pop culture goes. But I mean, but there's a lot of owners, minority owners in the background who are not necessarily known entertainment wise or popular wise, but they're people who have millions of dollars, invested in the clubs because they're work for CEOs for companies, or whatever. I mean, not everybody can have a James Harden or a, or a Drew Carey like they do in Seattle or whatever the case is with the LAFC and all their minority owners like Magic Johnson and all that stuff and over there. But it's always good to get an influx of cash in if you're able to provide it, if you're able to get it. So I mean, good for Ted to put it out there, put the flyer out there, see what happens and see who.
We'll see about that. I mean, because one thing is for you to say that, and then another is to be making the kind of moves you made this season. So
Well,
we'll
yeah, but I
wait.
mean, but,
You know,
it is what it is.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, they decide how they're gonna how the evaluation of the club is gonna proceed, and then uh how much of a valuation of the club can go up and all that good stuff. Obviously, the valuation of the club goes up when you have better infrastructure and better things, and obviously a winning culture and a winning club helps that along too as well. So a lot of different variables that
And
go into that situation. Yes.
Mark, to help your social media followers and all those that are where I want the money to be put elsewhere. Forget the upgrades, improve the team, blah blah blah. It's different money, by the way, y'all. So the money going into the stadium is not taken away from the
Yeah.
team improvement itself, and this in the salary cap that's enlisted by the MLS and those salaries. They're different. They're different types of money too. It's different budget, so it's not taken away from our roster build. So those of you asking, "Oh, I want my money," going find a different reason to hate the improvements that are coming, and you're never
Shut
getting a roof.
up. Yeah, tell him
Yeah, for
shut
sure, for
up.
sure. Yeah, so I mean, let's look ahead to the offseason, guys. I mean, look, I'm gonna pose a question to you guys, and obviously, I'm gonna go last here because I have I have something that I want to mention with this question. But obviously, this offseason looks like it's gonna be a huge overhaul. We're gonna have at least it looks like at least a double digit amount of players coming in that obviously are brand new faces and with brand new personalities and skill sets and hopefully better talent than what we had last year, right? Cesspool, I'll start with you first, man. What if you were Pat Onstead and or slash Asher, whichever one you want to be? Uh, what is the first thing you're looking to do this offseason as far as improvement of the club?
Do exactly what Pat said he would do, which is
What is
bring
it?
an impact player in every position on the field. except
Which position would you
goalkeeper.
focus on first?
Primarily defense. Second, I would bring a creative midfielder,
Mhm.
uh, and a holding midfielder. And then third, I would bring a player if I could better than what I have in attack. Uh, if not, just slightly lower than Ponce with experience, because you can't focus every attack on Ponce, and to be quite fair, you got to prepare for injuries, and
For
if you
sure.
cannot find somebody that can develop into something better than Ponce, then you got to find something that's either worse than him that costs us a lot less, which is what we have. You
A
know,
quality backup, you mean?
yeah, a quality backup, but what is quality? Because also that's in
Yeah.
relation to how Ponce is playing, and he's been inconsistent. So,
Oh,
uh,
and I'll give you the same question, man. If you were Pat Austin, what's the first thing you're attacking this offseason?
The central attacking midfield position. Linger, you're going to the bench. They're not. You're not going to focus on a striker. You have Alessandro coming back, but is he going to be a part of the team or not, or was that just a joke? He's a good forward. I would love having behind Ponce and coming in late. You're not benching Anali. You're not benching McGlynn, so you can go after Linger. You're not benching Dorsey, Andrade. You have Carlos. You could maybe upgrade Antonio Carlos or bring in a third center back that can rotate with those because you know who's going to be injured out of the two. You have Arthur and Brooklyn Reigns, so Brooklyn will be gone with a national team and play it. Arthur's getting old and running out of gas, so I would love a CDM. Junior Ursa would have been great to keep around on the roster
yeah,
and be on the
I
bench.
don't understand
Uh,
that.
so actually,
I
to go
mean,
back to your earlier question, Junior Urso is probably the one that I would have kept out of all
Yeah,
those, but maybe
yeah,
just
honestly,
remove him. But so yeah, CDM, Cam, uh, it's definitely centrally midfield, and then got to solidify the CBs since you let them all go. Hartlow. I don't care about Femi. I'm good with Femi, but he could have improved, and he could be the next McKell and for
screw
some
you,
other
man.
team.
I'm
But
the opposite.
yeah,
I'm
I know
Harlow and
hey,
Femi.
I love the kid's attitude. The kid has a great attitude, and he was fun to watch at Dose, and then he just struggled at Dynamo. So that's why I said he's
But
a USL player.
he didn't want to get lost in the big games, and Barlow did. That is to me
But and they're both
the
gone.
factor. Yeah,
So
exactly.
focus
So
right up
neither
the
one of us
middle,
was right.
Marcus is where I'm at. Right up the middle.
so
The
you so
store
so Cesspool focus on the defense first, and you focus on the central on the midfield area first, as if you were Pat.
and include that center back too as well. Just centrally
Yeah.
right there. Solidify your central box when you're defensively, and then that'll be able to allow you to create offensively. That's what our struggle was. We sucked at
Let me
defense. We're
throw
on
a
our
question.
hinds the whole time, and we could not attack correctly, and it sucked this season. So fix it up the middle. Yes.
If
My
we
next
were,
question.
I got a
Go
question for you, but just a small one,
ahead.
and it's just a
Okay.
yes or no question. Having brought a player like Zvyachenko in the past with a very limited budget, with the budget we have now, you don't think you can bring somebody equal to him at least or better?
No, yeah, for
That's
sure.
what I
Yeah.
said. Bring in a
So
good quarterback.
But I think it goes beyond just the physical attribute. I think the fact that I think you see the difference when he was on the pitch as far as a leader. You know,
that's what I'm
you need
saying. In aspects, there's players of that quality in Europe all over. There's players
yeah,
that are
yeah, for sure.
aging through teams. You can find another one like him now, especially now having a
But
big, a more.
but this is where you start going into is that really a position of focus that I really need to pay that much attention to when I have three others ahead of that one, right? Because like I said again, it's about budgeting, right? Because we don't have the full array of just unlimited amount of money, right? Like Inter Miami or LAFC, right?
Yeah.
So if finding a younger version of Shevchenko is possible that has the same skill set and a higher ceiling, then obviously yeah, that'd be great. But are you doing that in place of getting a better central attacking player to replace Linger? Is
Okay.
that worth it? Like you.
What was your weakest link this year?
Well, the attack. I mean, there was no
You
offense,
think it was the attack?
but there
I
was no
think
offense. We were the
I
second.
would
We
say
were the second lower.
our
Well, you
okay.
got to score goals to win games. And we were the second lowest scoring team in the league. So I mean, there has to be I mean, look, trust me, I'm a component of defense wins championships, right? But if we have clean sheets all every game, but we can't score no goals, all we end up getting are ties. You know, so we need we
I
need we
agree.
need firepower.
So would you be so now that there is a possibility of having two DPs or more under 22 DPs, would you rather waste them on a
I wouldn't say
another
waste. I
attacker?
think waste is the
I
wrong
mean,
word.
because
I
right
would
now, Ponce
invest.
is the a DP.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you use would you because at this point it's having to use
I'm definitely.
the other.
If you're asking me whether I'm gonna choose a DP playmaker over a DP center back, yeah, I'm picking the
No, no,
playmaker.
no, not playmaker, not playmaker. I'm
Well,
talking
that's what we're
about
looking
another.
for.
Oh, okay, playmaker. Yeah, for sure,
Yeah, that's what
100%
we're looking
DP
for.
playmaker.
Because look,
Yes.
honestly, look. Obviously, you guys know you've been on the show with me. I've been on the show 20 times now. I have high regards for Ponce. I think Ponce can be a top scorer in this league. You know, I no doubt about it. I truly believe that.
The
But
team needs to
he,
play that way, though.
but
Yeah,
the team needs to provide him support
needs to feed
and
him.
and
Yeah,
and chances. You know, it can't just be off a free kick or a corner kick. You know, there has to be open play. There has to be open play. So,
right.
but so appreciate the question, Cesspool. Great question, my guy. My next question for you guys: if you were Pat, if $8 million transfer fee came in for Jack McGlynn, are you taking it?
That's right at the
I'll
borderline
let you. I'll ask you first.
yeah, that's right at the borderline of yes, you're hoping for more because you are giving up 50%. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say technically I'm gonna take my answer back and say no. I think 11, 12 is the minimum right now, and I think you can push it for more. And if he can really get some good field time in the World Cup in front of the world, that number will grow, and that's why I say he's not going nowhere till after the World Cup. We may not be interested in even hearing teams out. We may just talk to them and bullshit and be like, then after the World Cup, then
Okay.
we ramp things
Let,
up.
let,
But
let,
so I'm
let's say
thinking
let's
11,
say 10.
12.
Let's say 10. So I think 12 is let's say 10. Let's meet in the middle.
I mean,
I mean, we
that's so
wanted
tough.
five for
Yeah,
Copa, so
I mean that's 5
yeah,
mil to Philadelphia
yeah.
and that's 5 mil to yourself.
I mean, I think so. 10 is just 10's intriguing, but man, that's under my line, and you know how Houston sticks and Pat sticks. So I'm going to say
10,
no.
you gonna say no? Okay. Cesspool, what about you? 10 mil for Jack McGlynn. Are you doing it? Yes or no?
no,
No?
no. Especially if you cannot keep a percentage of the player. Uh,
Well, no,
you know,
well, no, 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 no. Well, you always have that. You have that option. I mean, you own the player, but you have to give 50% of the of Philadelphia
right.
back to him. You can put a sell on clause, but I mean, but we're being too technically here.
That's the
I'm
only
just saying
way,
straight out
bro.
10,
I wouldn't
10 mil.
sell him. No, no, because it's more. It's the impact he will make on the team will outweigh the amount of money he would bring in. It'll be very difficult to find another player with those kinds of
So let me ask. Okay,
projections.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be my next question. Depending on what you answered, let's say you have a DP level type of player that fills McGlynn's position that wants to come here and play and sees the vision. Are you selling?
It all comes down to
I'm bringing the
age.
player in first that wants to come
Well,
in.
I mean, you need the funds to bring them in.
Right, but
We have
I'm
the
saying it
funds.
goes
We
down to
clearly have the so
age. He has
we
to
have
come
the
for
funds, and we
age.
clearly have the funds.
Okay.
And then we have two DP
Well,
spots open as well.
look, I get what Cesspool's doing the age thing, but I mean, but look, this is the thing, and I understand the age aspect that you're telling me, Cesspool, but we have to understand the position we are in global football. We're a feeder league. We feed talent to bigger leagues. We're not one of the top.
Understand that 100.
We're not one
Understand
of
that.
we're not the Premier League. We're not La Liga. We need to understand that once we have a certain player who can be 16, 17, 18, 19, if they're high level talent and Man City or Barcelona or Arsenal, whoever comes in and wants to grab that player and give you, hey, Thank you for the money that you're going to bring us, kid. Good luck with your future endeavors. This is the type of league we're in. You know, we're
A
not. I
hundred
mean,
percent, and we already do that without
yeah,
being
yeah, for sure.
successful
So I mean, you
economically.
know,
Okay, so
but
it's not
so now
about that. It's not
so
about that. It's
now,
more about we've always under fucking sold players.
but that's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
what did we do with Coco?
But
I
that's what I'm
mean,
saying. Look, we had a difficult season this season, right? We can all agree on that, right? The one of the shining stars, one of the bright lights was obviously Jack McGlynn, right? He, you know, 8 goals, I think it was 7 assists for what 29 games played, which is great for a
it's
first year.
pretty good.
You know,
Yes,
pretty good first year. If let's say obviously if he makes the USA men's national team, which we don't know because obviously we don't know what other players are gonna do and stuff like that. If he makes it, obviously that's a plus, right? That increases his value. Now, whether he has the opportunity to showcase his skills in the international stage, because I don't think he's gonna overtake a Pulisic or a McKinney or an Adams on the midfield. You know, we don't know, right? And then on top of that, will next year's version of the Dynamo be a better team under Ben Olsen? And if it's not, and he regresses, and that 10 million offer is no longer there, and it starts going down to, hey, here's 7, 8 the next year. You know, the value is high on him right now. Great Gold Cup, great first season with the Dynamo. His value is trending upward. You know, we have a history here, and obviously this is not Pat's fault, but we've had a history here in the Dynamo where we see players trend upward, but we sell them too late and we sell them too low. I.e., Maro Manotes, Alves, players like that, right? Where we had opportunities to get 8 figures for players of those caliber, and we ended up getting barely 7 figures for them. You know, and in at least case, we still have an IOU form from Boavista. You know, um, so
Well,
so so
I
that so,
remember.
McGlynn's in a boot. McGlynn's in a boot and not going to be available till preseason anyway, so nobody's going to come a calling right now and offering
yeah,
some
yeah,
money. So
no, but
we'll get him back in the
but
preseason. We'll get him for the start of the season, and then that offer will come during the World Cup or right after the World Cup, and then that's when
for
the
That's
sure,
best
it, and
time to
that's
sell
kind
him.
of where it's really difficult to kind of gauge that. I don't think they should sell for 10 million if we undersell. We're just doing the same shit we've always done. Right now, being a World Cup year, it's best for whoever, even
okay.
fucking players in Mexico are being criticized right now for not making that jump because it's tough. And so
Well,
I think him, he knows that he's got half a foot in the door. So even if the Dynamo play bad, he's good enough to be in the
no,
national
I got you.
team.
I got okay. No. That's good. I'm glad. I see where you stand, where you two guys stand, and you seem compelled to have McGlynn here for a second year and have his
Yeah, even if
trajectory.
we're
Hopefully,
feeder club, we still
keep.
have to win to put
Yeah,
money
yeah,
there
for
to
sure. Okay, my
yeah.
third question for you guys: if you were Pat Austin and somebody came in with a 3 million offer for Brooklyn Reigns, are you selling? Cesspool.
He's worth at least 6, 7. And I'm sorry.
See. Hold on. This is. I think you have a little bit of because this is our player. We think he's worth this amount. We have to be fair.
No, I'm not saying
We have to
because
be
of what
fair.
he's worth. I'm saying what he equals to the institution.
I
And
mean,
I'm talking about on the field. This is purely on the field level.
okay,
Reigns as a player is a player that over the last 3 years has actually consistently developed into a better and better player
for
every
sure.
preseason. And he's not even broken into the first team in the national team level. So, is he consistent with us? Absolutely. And again, it all comes down to after the World Cup. I don't think 3 million is enough for him right now at the level he's at. 6 million. Why to deter offers? Unless you bring in a serious plan and say, "Hey, Dynamo, you get to keep a percentage of reigns.
Well,
We'll sell him to you for 3 mil. Only if you keep half." You know that's how I feel. Just because you're
yeah.
trying to hold on to as many quality players to be able to then capitalize at the World Cup. That's that if you're a feeder club. you know,
Well, I don't think it's so much. I mean, look,
or a seller club,
I
or
mean,
if
look,
we want to make money, or
yeah, yeah.
with
Look, World Cup aside. I mean, obviously, I know the World Cup has a lot of things to do with it, but World Cup aside, in my opinion, it's one of those things where, look, obviously, Brooklyn's been with us for 3 years. He's finally broken into the first team. He's getting starter minutes. He looks great out there. He looks amazing for the U20s. He's one of the leaders in the U20s, and he's obviously great goal that he scored in the World Cup of the U20s and stuff like that. So it's just for me, you know, obviously when you're negotiating, especially for a player of that young youth, obviously you're always going to try to throw in, hey, give me a sell on clause. You can have him 3 mil if I get 40% of the of future fees or whatever, or blah blah blah. Cool,
well,
but
that's the norm now. Yeah.
as far as, are you willing to do it to make that pile of cash grow more, so that way you can bring more. I'm not saying more MLS ready, or just higher talented players now, because you want to win. Look, you took a huge step back this past season.
Well, for sure, bro.
We're being realistically speaking, there's only 5 players remaining from the U.S. Open Cup championship team, right? So it's a huge overhaul. You're gonna need money. You're gonna need money to, and I understand that we have money and blah blah blah, but for this huge overhaul that I for hopefully foresee seeing of quality players that we're gonna bring in, that hopefully are better than with the players that we had last year, it's gonna cost money, and you gotta sell to buy. So I mean, that's the only reason I'm asking. I mean, obviously, I know Brooklyn's been a great kid, homegrown. Love to see his evolution. But is it sacrificing the Brooklyn Reigns to bring in somebody who is more has more experience, is more capable of winning, more of a leader on the field? Because I mean, again, he's a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid. Is he really a leader on the pitch? You know, not necessarily. He doesn't have the stripes for that yet. OSG, your thoughts on it?
Look, if someone comes for Brooklyn for 3 million right now, yeah, I'm taking it. And of course, there's going to be a sell-on clause, and and yes, you're going to get rid of him. He's U20, so he does not have a World Cup coming up because he just played in his World Cup. So it'll be whatever the schedule is for U20 that'll be missing for us during the season. He's very capable, but you said his value. You look at his value across the entire transfer market, and somebody from overseas is going to come calling, and if they meet that number or are very close to that number, you're going to pull the trigger and you're going to do it. And I think we should do it when that the right amount comes calling. Of course, we didn't do it for Coco for the while, but then the right number never came, or a number never came at all. And then we finally got a good number that they were happy with, and got rid of Coco. So
And there
the
was a
right
sell on
number,
clause as
yeah,
well too.
yeah, the sell on. So you'll always have something coming back in return as long as he continues to improve. But I think it'll be a nice little chunk, 3 million, and we have the money. The salary cap is there. We have an owner that says he's willing to spend the money. So we can go out and when you look at the team salaries they just released a few days ago, I think Mark even shared it. We're like 11 or 15 million, and then the highest one was 80 something or 95 million.
Yeah,
So to even
we're
close
20th.
that gap, or to begin to close that gap, then you can spend some friggin' money. And Ted says he's got the money, and he smiled when he's got money. So
Yeah,
I
I
think that's
mean,
what he was doing when he smiled too. So
I mean, going back
yes,
to that
3 million.
team cap thing. I mean, for the Dynamo being 20th without 2 DPs is, I guess it's a pretty good money spent. But obviously, because of the season you had, you're looking at it like, well, had we had those 2 DP spots filled, could it's just, again, it goes back to the front office not being structured, or not having
Mm.
the urgency to get deals done and bring in players of quality, or maybe
Well,
they weren't
not
available,
just
or
that, but they were tied also with the deals from previous years that they were still tied into. So like
but I mean,
that played a big role. Yeah,
you
and
sold
then
Coco. You let
and
go.
then
If Hector's salary
uh,
became available, Mikael,
Ferreiras too, and
Mikael. I
so
mean,
like
like
and do you feel like they misused the money? I've said this in previous episodes. I firmly believe they did. You know, bringing
look.
in
Look,
scrappies, I call them.
if look, man, and this is gonna be my final question as far as like y'all playing Pat, and it's the most it's the common question that everybody gets asked, and it's the most ridiculous one because it's obviously one that's far fetched. But before we get to that question, I'll say this: if that money was saved because they had foresight to see, like, hey, next year X player is going to come off a contract, he's going to be free or have a year or be on an expiring contract, and he will be a big player to come in, and we think that we can get him. So they sacrificed this season, or not necessarily sacrificed this season. They thought they had enough talent, but obviously they didn't oversee the fact that injuries can happen, and things of that nature can occur where it really the team was already running thin. It just thinned out more because of the injuries, right? Can I give them props? It's always tough for me as a fan to just throw away a season, because life comes and goes. Hey, you never we're not promised tomorrow. And during my time here on this earth, I like to celebrate the championships and the wins that I can as much with the teams that I love and support, right? So it's tough for me to just say, hey, I'm gonna throw away a season, because XYZ. But I understand why seasons get thrown or why seasons get sacrificed or whatever. Okay. So the question I'm going to ask, the last question I'll ask you guys, if you guys were Pat, is if you were able to sign a player, a realistic top tier player, DP type that you can bring in, who would you bring in? Cesspool, I'll go with you first.
Paqueta. Or okay. West Ham has Guido Pizarro as well. That's uh that's an actual very solid player that fits her needs. That's an actor, but rejuvenated, you know, and he's got great vision. Aside of that, maybe in the Mexican League, you know, bring in Herrera from Tigres, you know.
I'm about to say you guys like Toluca. I was like,
No. Herrera,
yeah, yeah.
Osiel Herrera
Holding,
from
holding.
Tigres.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that
or
kid's
you
going to Europe
know,
though. I think
oh,
that
you
kid's
know,
going to
for
Europe.
sure. Or worst case scenario, they don't like homeboy over here, the one with the pretty hair, blondie over there, Tigres. Well, send them over our way, you know. The one guy that used to play for America. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
his
Linus
name.
or
No, the other one.
Cordova.
Cordova. Yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
Cordova.
Cordova would be
Yeah,
a very good player
he's
for
he's an
us.
amazing player.
Oh, he would
The
be
other
top.
Quinones.
Yeah.
You know, oh, him too. You know, and so
But
they,
the bad thing about Julian Quinones is he's doing really good at that Saudi Arabian league, and he's making shit ton of money.
but
Yeah,
he's just there for the money. I mean, he's just gonna cash
Yeah,
in and get the
and the
hell out. I mean, that's
and
what
the
everybody
women.
does.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because he
There for
was
the
playing. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, he's there for the money and the women, just like Ronaldo will never leave the Saudi
Yeah,
league.
yeah. Because I mean, he was playing. He was playing the same team with a Aubameyang, and Aubameyang left this season to go to Marcel, and
yeah,
obviously he made his money and left. So Quinones would be great. Quinones would be great. OSG, you're
yeah.
same question. If you were able to bring in a top tier DP type level player, somebody that's realistic, obviously not. I'm not expecting Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not expecting anything like that. Who would you bring in?
I wouldn't even know where to start for first off, like who's realistic. Everybody thinks Griezmann or knows Griezmann's coming to the MLS at some
Well,
point. It'd be nice to have our name in the hat right there, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. We need to go out there and find a captain right now is what we damn sure could go friggin' do and bring somebody. And Ted mentioned we are looking for top flight players. As Siskel said, that could be the Scottish League top flight, but that as far
Yeah,
as
we were
top flight,
talking off camera. I
so
was like,
it,
top flight can mean fucking Ireland, boys. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, every
anywhere.
country,
But
every country has a top flight.
right. So it
Luxembourg has
makes
a
it sound
top
like
flight,
we're
and
going
a
to go look
Mexican
and
runs their team there.
we're
Yeah.
we're not going to have a borderline to what we're going to go look after, and maybe they're raising the bar. He did say after the San Diego game that Pat flew to New York to Ted, so Ted called Pat in, and they had a 3-hour conversation. It should have been longer. It probably is what I sound like, but building a plan and building the progress and what he expects and what they're gonna need to do to move on. So,
And
man, I'm hoping it's gonna be there's big names or
yeah.
big name, but can't hold a ceiling when you're going out looking for players. Go out there and
And
chase
We did
somebody.
think they had a backup for Mikael. I mean,
and
they're always,
yeah.
surprising us.
I'm glad you brought that up because this is gonna lead into what I wanted to talk about as far as Chelsea. Now, if I was Pat, obviously and I'm sure he does. I'm sure he has his system and he's very organized. Pat, for the times that I've spoken with him and met him, he's been an outstanding guy, real professional. Obviously his tenure with Columbus is the reason why he got the GM spot here at Houston and all that stuff. So he knows how to be around the championship level team and club, and he knows how to build a championship level club, right? And he did that with us as far as the US Open Cup and Western Conference finalists and all that good stuff. So I'm not deterring too much away or trying to disrespect or offend Pat or Asher because I'm pretty sure I'm sure that they're doing all they possibly can to bring the best quality players here for the next season for the Dynamo, right? But with that being said, this is what I would do. I would have a system in place where I have four tiers of players. These are the four tiers that I will have. DP, obviously, above average, average, and then depth, developmental, right? Now, I would have my scouts, Asher, everybody under every category for every position that I have available, at least four to five names under each category, right? So for the developmental depth, obviously, hey, MLS free agents, USL players, or Dynamo those players, whatever that would fit that criteria. Average players would be okay, players that are available to me through trades with MLS, or maybe hey, free agents that are from European clubs that they're not really like high level players. They're just great quality players like
The
Shevchenko,
Basis, the
yeah,
Seba,
Shevchenko,
yeah,
stuff
that's
like
what
that,
you mean.
whatever.
Yeah,
Above average would be my borderline, my high TAM players or my lower level DP players where I can buy down their contract and make them a high TAM player later on. That's what that above average. And then obviously my DP is my 5 million plus salary player that's gonna be the face of the franchise, XYZ, the playmaker, the one who's gonna be on all the commercials and sell the jerseys and sell the kits and bring the people in the stands and all that bullshit, right? Once I figure out which position to me is of need first, like say for example, like I mentioned, OSG mentioned, the midfield. We need playmakers. We need attacking midfielders. It can't be Linger because Linger hasn't shown that he's capable of that yet. You know, so we need that. The second position might be a center back, a true leader to help Shevchenko. That way, we're not so enamored and and have so much need of Shevchenko because he is getting older and he does play a position that's very physical, right? And
I
obviously
mean,
his knees are giving
e-
out.
even if Ortiz were to come back, right? Ortiz, we've had the little, duo of Felipe Andrade
Yeah, yeah.
and
But
Ortiz in the past,
but
bro.
like you said, if you can find better, why not get better,
Yeah,
right? So, it's one of those things where I need my Asher, my scouts, the scouting department, whoever else makes a decision as personnel goes. I need to have full reports. I need to have this and this and that, and I need to focus
yeah,
on which ones I need to bring, and I need to work my way from up to down instead of from down to up, which I felt was
no,
last year.
and
Which I
realistically
felt was
speaking,
hold on, Cecil. Which I felt
yeah,
was what we did last year because that's where we brought in the scraps, the broken leg players, the one legged players, the Sergio Santos is in the guy the kid that was Sissoko or so whatever his name was, that got like 2 minutes of playtime. These
He's still with
players.
us.
Huh?
Yeah, no, he's still with us.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, he's still
Coco.
with us. But I mean, but like that's like I said, but they were looking for players just to bring in to hopefully build this, to hopefully have some kind of, you know, find that dumb diamond in the rough, I guess, or get something of quality for cheap, you know. We need to stop with that, trying to look for the diamond in the rough. Like I said, if we find it, great, it's awesome. That's great. We you make a lot, you save a lot of money because you have a player who's outplaying their contract. But right now you're not gonna find that. You're gonna have to pay. We're gonna have to pay for players. You know,
Well, thank God we have it, right?
we don't have anybody from Dynamo Dose that's killing it. That we're like, oh my god, that kid is gonna be our future or whatever. So for as much as we love Sebastian
Goalkeeper. That's
Rodriguez
it.
and all those
No,
kids
you
down
have
there, you know, I
Diego
mean,
Gonzalez, Sebastian Rodriguez, and Cruz. And
yeah,
those are your three from Dose that you need to keep an eye on.
yeah. As much as we love those kids, shout out to them, and I hope that they make the leap to the first team at some point in their career. Right? I don't think they're gonna be the answer, right, for this upcoming season. So, you know, we need to focus on the top level players that we need for X amount of positions and go after that and go hard for them. And not settle for the third or fourth choice, you know? If we get the opportunity to sign the above average center back, let's sign that guy and not let that guy get by us and end up with the average center back that signed that was gotten in from a trade with the MLS club or whatever. Like let's make sure that we go after the highest amount of talent that we could possibly go for, because at the end of the day, talent wins. And then it's up to the coaching staff to mold that talent and make them into a team and make them into a whole unit that's unstoppable and obviously a championship caliber squad, right? So that's my focus as far as like organization, as far as like going after players and type of tier players that are available to me. Because obviously, yes, you're gonna need depth. You're gonna need to hit on one of those developmental depth squad players or one of those average players or whatever, and you're gonna have to hope that if push comes to shove and somebody gets injured, they're able to cover you for a game or two throughout the season or whatever, or be able to be a super sub or be able to be a player that Olsen can count on to bring in on the last quarter of the game and help finish out that game. Yeah, you need those type of players. You need the dogs. You need the ones who aren't scared to get muddy and have that what you called it earlier, that Escobar had, the that
La
that
Garra.
like there you go. You need that. You need those enforcements. You need those enforcers. You know, but we need to go at this offseason and attack it like no other, man. We can't sit around and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And then we waited so long. Season 21 has started and we're still waiting, you know? That's my only
You
concern.
know, I would suggest us, have a round table midway through the off season, or just before the season starts, to kind of see maybe we can get one of them, at
Well,
least some answers from.
maybe something during the middle of the winter, over the winter transfer window, depending on how much activity is going on and how many players are actually being
Yeah,
signed and how many players
there's
are
some
actually being
buzz. We
released.
can we can maybe
We'll see.
get some. We can get Asher, to hit him up through Twitter,
For sure.
because
We'll see.
I'm very interested to see what his mindset is on the team. He did speak to me the last game that we were in, and um, I'm not sure I can tell you much of it, but what I did gather up was the money they used this season. They knew it was lost, and like they knew we had all these openings this season, and so they just kind of used it as fillers.
Yeah, I mean, so
Uh,
they basically sacrificed the season. Yeah, that's what they. Yeah, I get that.
and so to them was, but look what we have now. Now he did say that and I told him, hey man, so Griezmann quality, and he just smiles and he's like, not Griezmann, but
But that's what I'm
you
saying.
know that that's what we're aiming for, and I was like, that's
But that's
insane,
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If they had the foresight to say, look, we fucked up. We didn't sign. We couldn't get somebody in at X period of time. So you know what? We're gonna see what this club can do with the players that we currently have. We'll pick up pieces here and there depending on what happens throughout the season. The season was a complete shit, but if they had the foresight to say, "Look, next year we're
I
gonna
want
have
to
X
believe
amount of,"
so.
you know, then I can applaud that, I guess, to a certain point. But again, I'm not a fan. I'm not a supporter who can handle just tossing a season away. Because again,
No,
as
and to be
a
quite
fan,
fair,
as a supporter, as somebody like you who I see you wearing a nice crisp orange Dynamo jersey, who spends his money, as a
no,
guy
for
like
sure.
you, OSG, who spends a lot of money on gas to travel down to Houston to watch these games, to support them, you know, to have them say that we just threw away a season, it's kind of hard to take. This money isn't getting any easier to get in my to put in my pockets.
How
So
about not look at it like that? How about look at it like in the way that I think they meant to do it, based on how I heard the conversations went. Um, More like we cannot afford anything more than this, so we're bringing the best we can.
well,
And
it,
unfortunately, how
it's
many of
one thing
those
to say
players
it, it's
really
another thing to
worked
do it.
out, right? And right, how many of those really worked out?
Yeah.
McGlynn,
Look,
McGlynn,
look.
Olizan.
This is one quote that I heard from this clip today, and it's one quote that stayed with me today that Tim Howard said. Obviously they're talking about the DPS and OSG. You could probably say a little bit something about this afterwards. Was yeah, when you sign your Messi's, when you sign your DPS who really want to come here and play and elevate the league, that's great. But for the Messi's and for the other DPs that have accomplished their things here, like Sun, you know, whoever else, right? Mueller and stuff like that. For those that want to come in here and play and continue to play at a high level and increase and up the level of MLS, you're gonna have a shit ton of other DPs are just gonna come in and want to just get a paycheck and say, you know what, hey, I can go make a couple million in the United States and just have a good time and chill. I get that, but you can't look at things like that. You have to analyze the player as far as his motives, his ambition, and what he's looking for, right? For example, Hector Herrera, great example. A lot of people, when the first 10 games that he played here, when he came to that half season, a lot of people were like, what the hell? The hype was crazy. The introductions were crazy. The mural, the signing, the airport thing, amazing. The first 10 games when he came in for that half season, that season that he came in, people were like, "What the fuck? What's going on?" But then that
Yeah,
first
stadium
full,
was
se-
full.
that, but then that first full season where he had an MVP, finished third in the MVP in the league, everybody was like, "Wow, he wasn't about that bullshit. He came in here, he wanted to up his profile, which he did. He wanted to improve it. He wanted to improve this team, which he did. He wanted to lead this team to a championship, which he did. He wanted to lead this club into a deep run with the playoffs, which he did. You know, so now you have to go out there and find these players that want to do the same exact thing. You know, are you gonna have your Andre Pirlo's where, hey, great legendary player, but when he came to NYCFC was a complete dud, complete shit. But then you have your David Villas who come in and, hey, MVP, takes you on a deep playoff run, all-time goal scorer for your
Your
franchise,
Jovinkos.
your Javinkos, players of that nature. Your Joseph Martinez's and your Miguel Almiron's for with Atlanta United.
Oh yeah, when he
You
was
know,
here, yeah.
Carlos Vela, another one. But with that being said, you got to bring the player in. You got to let the player come in, and you as a club, as a franchise, have to keep that player motivated and involved with the club and the community to want to keep going and going. OSG, is there anything you want to add before we get it going? I know we're prolonging here a little bit and going above the normal hour that we have, but I mean I have been gone for 2 weeks and I got a lot to say.
Yeah. You do got a lot to say, but we still got more for you to say. Yeah, as we are a little bit over, but that's okay. We can always keep on going. A name you said. I would like Bernardo Silva's on the end of his rope. Somebody let's send McGlynn over to City and get Silva in return and make that transfer a little bit lower, and you can come retire over here after a great season with the Dynamo or 2 seasons with the Dynamo. But nah, man, I'm curious to see what this offseason brings us. I'm curious if we're going to be able to get an opportunity to talk to Asher. We're definitely going to try during the offseason and some more and some players, of course, hopefully, and see what we can get out of them and see where this team's going. And then, like you said, follow the players that do come in. I'm pretty sure we're done with the players leaving, so uh, it has to be just anybody coming in now. So
Yeah,
very
Hopefully.
intrigued, very curious as to what we're going to do this off season. And they hinted, I think they moved up the intangibles that they're looking for in players, and I think that they rose that up or opened that door a little bit more. So Ted is, you know, I, I would like to see it though. We can't be
yeah,
looking for mediocre players or potential players. We need to go out and get proven players. And
for sure.
but I'm curious for the off season. But we're gonna be here on Foxtrot TV for y'all the entire time. Whenever there's something to bring y'all, so stay tuned to it.
Yeah,
That's it. I got nothing else, but I want to know about your European trip real quick, man. You got to go to a European game and enjoy that atmosphere, man. Which game did you go to, man?
Yeah, so I appreciate that. OSG giving me a little time to talk about my European trip. But first and foremost, shout out to Wise 2 Week on the chat. I know we got to you a little late, man, my guy, but I appreciate you, on the chat with us and all that good stuff. Yeah, man, I spent the last week and a half in Portugal. It was amazing. Went to a Champions League game with Sporto versus Marcial. Great atmosphere. Sporting Club de Lisbon ended up winning 2-1 against Marcial, even though I think Marcial was the better club. They just went down a player, a red card, an unfortunate red card. But the hometown
Still a
team
good
won.
game, man.
Oh, it was a fantastic game. I'm not even gonna hold you, man. I managed to get some amazing seats. Man, shout out to a friend that lives over there that really hooked it up. And Yeah, man, it was an amazing atmosphere. I got to go visit the Benfica Stadium, which uh, it an amazing stadium. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the Benfica Stadium was one of the best stadiums that I've seen in Europe. And I've been to a lot of European stadiums, and Benfica Stadium was amazing. Um, I went to Porto, and I went to go to Porto Stadium. The Porto Stadium was very underwhelming for such a huge club. They're actually the most decorated club in Portugal, and for them being the most decorated, that stadium and that atmosphere was a little bit underwhelming. Per se, I don't know if I was expecting a lot more because of what
Did
I've
it feel
seen.
like home?
I mean, I don't. I mean, it's just for what Lesbian for what Benfica and Sporting gave me. When I
Yes.
went to when I went to Porto, I was like, okay, this is the most decorated team in,
It's
in
gonna be
in Portugal.
crazy. Yeah.
Two-time champion leagues winner, blah blah blah, all these great accolades, and I go there and it's kind of like, wow, it wasn't what I expected, but I mean, but shout out to Porto. Still a great atmosphere, great stadium, and all that good stuff. The museum was real nice. The tour was cool. But yeah, man, I had a great time over there. The beaches were beautiful. The coastline, the
You
whole
can't
coastline
say
thing
that.
was amazing. um, you know, um, I'm already looking forward to my next trip to across the pond, like they say, and we'll see where we end up. I've pretty much been to almost every country in Europe already, thankfully, and I guess we'll see where we can go second time around, or maybe I'll go back to South America like I did a couple of years back, and maybe head back to Argentina or maybe even Brazil. I don't know. We'll see.
Sí, boludo, necesita ir a la casa ya, boludo, a visitarlo.
Yeah, so I mean, I appreciate the time. But yeah, guys, I mean, but obviously, obviously during the whole time over there, while it was great, and it was great to spend that time with my wife for our anniversary. Shout out to the wife. Um, you know, I missed y'all. I missed the camaraderie. I missed the Dynamo fans. I missed the chat, all that good stuff. So shout out to obviously Andres, Juan. I heard that Hermin is back, so shout out to Hermin. Looking forward to collaborating with you, my guy, and doing future shows with you, my guy. So all that good stuff. That's cool. I think you're going to be a little bit more involved with us on a part-time basis. So I'm looking forward to that. OSG, obviously, you my guy, Eric. We trying to find a way to get you here to Houston permanently. We'll figure out some. We'll figure it out someday.
I
So
told
obviously,
you, go on Tinder, find somebody from Bel Air, hook up with them, get him a kid, and you're good to go, brother. Can't throw you out,
Looking for
man. You
something
got
more
rights.
stable.
something a little bit more
More,
stable. Maybe we'll get them in OnlyFans
see,
or
see,
something.
this is why
I,
you're
I don't
sick.
have time to repair my windshield, cesspool.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, but
Yeah.
guys, like again, great to be back. Obviously looking forward to this huge off season that the front office and our owner has promised us, and hopefully they can come through with their promises and not just speak just to speak and actually show action behind their words. But with that being said, guys, OSG, you're gonna play the role of Andres. Let the people know where they
Got
can
you.
find us.
Hey, as always, all the socials, anywhere you want. The best place to watch us, the best place to listen to us is right here on Foxtrot TV on YouTube. Can't miss a beat right there. Everything is there. You have more to come in the off season. We haven't announced yet, but we will be announcing soon to let y'all know what's coming. And there's a lot more coming to next season. We're building, but like I said, we'll let y'all know about it whenever the time is right. But as far as socials, the dynamic foxtrot on basically across the board, any social you're on, Twitter, X, IG, blue sky, whatever it's called. I was gonna call it blue share or whatever. Blue sky, but and then of course you have Noodle Tempio and X. And then you of course you'll have y'all's own personals. But like I said, best place is Foxtrot TV. You get everything. You have Ko-Fi as well. We're on Goals TV. You can check everything out on Goals TV. And then when we have articles, we put those up on One Football as well. Everything's in Dynamic Foxtrot's bio. He usually puts everything down below in the description too as well. So make sure y'all just scroll down and read that a little bit. And that you get all your links right there, especially when these guys give their links here in a second too. But the Dynamic Foxtrot across all platforms. And you can hear us on any platform where you listen to your favorite podcast. So y'all continue to listen. Noodle Time Dash Dispatch. We'll have some instant ramens coming out, and there'll be more, but we're not going to say what that is yet.
For sure, for sure. Thank you, OSG. And again, shout out to our special guest, Saspool, for hanging out with us. Saspool, let the people know where they can reach you, man.
They can reach me within 3 feet next time. Uh, but when they're not close to me, if they go to Instagram and look for cesspool, Xespool, you can find me there. Again, cesspool, Xespool. That's gonna be the best way to find me, guys. I'm posting there all the time. This past weekend, I went to San Antonio, had a nice little adventure with my guys over there. By the way, shout out to everybody over there in San Antonio. They were great. They hosted me really well. Copateja, San Antonio, FC. Everybody was amazing, and my friend Matt. But yeah, so you can find me there. Follow me there. The crazy shenanigans about me. And every single like and every single share is appreciated, guys. And I'm always happy to hear from you out there.
And you're
And
always
one
welcome
more,
around.
Mark. We are the Surge. All of us on this damn show are Surge
See,
members.
For sure.
Andreas is a Surge member. We've got more
I
information for
will.
y'all coming out in other episodes about the Surge. So y'all pay attention. I've got one scheduled with the Texian, and we're going to get one with the El Batillon too as well. So we're going to get the supporter groups out there a little bit more. So y'all check it out. And if you want to be a supporter and get the great benefits that it is to be a supporter of your favorite team.
For sure.
Hope
Well, we got
hopefully I get to play the drums in one game. Hopefully.
there you go. Hey, that's a goal to achieve. Over now, I'll get you some kid drums and bring it to the game.
I'm learning, bro. I'm learning.
Hey, we
Yeah.
don't we all got to start from somewhere. But with that being said, guys, again, thank you for the welcome back. I'm glad to be back. But with that, whether we're up and down, we're always going to hold it down for H Town. Go Dynamo, go Dash. Looking forward to this offseason. Let's go, guys. Forever Orange.
H is
Hold it
up.
down.